Kal Alalyam La Yahweh Ba'asham Shal Yahushai.
Barakate Yahweh,
Barakata
Barakate
Yahushai.
Yahushai. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the elect, men pushing the truth in the highways and byways. And all honors to Yahweh Ba'asham Shal Yahushai. Just doing a video here about basically, letting your words be few. Don't talk too much, don't babble too much. Just keep it scriptural. Get to the point. Let the whatever it is that you need to say, let it be said in just a few words. Make your point straight and plain.
It says James chapter 3, verse 2. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man.
So if you don't offend in word, you're a perfect man. Obviously, none of us here are perfect. So at some point in time, we would have offended someone in our words. Whatever it is that we would have said.
And able also to bridle the whole body.
Is able to bridle the whole body, because through your tongue, sometimes your entire body would go off with sin.
Behold, we put bites on horses' mouths, that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body.
So by putting these on bridles, these bites on horses or donkeys, that's how we control them.
Behold, also the ships which though they be so great, are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeth.
So just by this small helm, this steering wheel, the entire ship the entire ship is controlled. Just like us men, by controlling this tongue, we control our entire body also.
Okay. Even so, the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue amongst our members, that it defileth the whole body.
You understand? Because sometimes you would say stuff and you didn't even process it, or your mind didn't even comprehend what you just said. But all you know is that you just said some shit. You understand?
Defile the whole body, and set it on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell.
That's it. You go off. Just because of your words. If you want to expound on the point later.
All right. Like for example, when it said a world of iniquity, as in all sorts of things could happen. It's like the episode of Boondocks, a nigga moment. If somebody tell you something, don't get over if somebody carnal, I should say, tell you something, don't get emotional and take it to heart, because you understand how dangerous this mouth is. So likewise, you take an example from somebody who's carnal being spiritual, you should watch what you say, as as speaking for example, for example, right? And when it says, and setteth on fire the course of nature, it is set on the fire of hell. Hell means like oppression. People can talk bad about you because you always quick to say something and keep talking all the time, and you don't giving them a chance for the thing. But when you be more of a hearer than a speaker, you understand things much better. All right. Verse 8 of James 3. But the tongue can no man. Verse 7. For every kind of beast, but every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and things that in the sea is tamed, and hath been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison.
It's like your tongue has a mind of its own. No man can tame it. Check, this is Ecclesiastes 5.
You get it?
Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High.
God, so when you go to the congregation of the men of the Lord, keep thy foot. Watch what he's saying. Wow.
And be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools.
God, so be more ready to listen than to speak and to babble. And just give sacrifice of fools, because you don't even comprehend some of the stuff that you say. You understand? Sacrifice of fools. Well,
For they consider not that they do evil.
God, so people don't really consider that talking a bunch of shit really and truly is doing evil. Well,
Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thy heart be hasty to utter anything before the Most High.
so in other words, think before you speak. Don't be brash. Don't not because somebody told you some offensive words. The first thing is going to utter something even more offensive to that person, but rather to think and deal with certain situations with wisdom. Uh,
For the Most High is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few.
Therefore, let your words be few, because the Most High is in heaven. Ecclesiastes 10:11. Yeah, 10:11. Ecclesiastes.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 11. Surely the serpent will bite without enchantment, and a babbler is no better.
So the serpent, they don't need a reason to bite someone, right? Just like these babblers, they babble without a reason. They just want to let their voice be heard. They don't have an argument of reasoning, nothing, but they just want to have their voice be heard. They just come up to say something, right? However, the wise will do different. Ecclesiastes 20:1.
This is Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 20, verse 1. There is a reproof that is not comely. Again, some man holdeth his tongue, and he is wise.
So some men gonna hold their tongue, before they speak, they will hold their tongue. You understand? Or even in times, they gonna just let certain things pass by, that rather than to go into it and be talking a bunch of nonsense. And he's wise.
Verse 5. Verse 5 of Sirach 20. There is one that keepeth silence and is found wise, and another by much babbling becometh hateful.
So those that will keep silence, those will be counted as wise men. However, the babblers, they are foolish.
Some man holdeth his tongue because he hath not to answer, and some keepeth silence, knowing his time.
This is the point there. That some men, they won't have the knowledge. You understand? They won't have the answer. So they will hold their tongue because they don't know. However, some men can hold their tongue because it's not their time. It's not the time to speak. It's not the time to expound on certain things. Just like they get this.
Verse 7. A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity, but a babbler and a fool will regard no time.
See what a wise man will do until he sees opportunity. Until he get the attention, of the persons whoever he's speaking to, until he get that full attention, then he will speak. However, the babbler, they will speak regardless of time, regardless of opportunity, regardless of if persons are paying attention or not.
Verse 8. He that useth many words shall be abhorred, and he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated. I forgot that word.
Yeah,
Expound on abhor.
yeah. Basically, the word abhor, right? It means to make abominable or to shun or put away. Right? So basically, a man of many words shall be shunned. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is Proverbs chapter 15, verse 23. A man had joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season. How good is it?
Can't. So going back to the Sirach, he will speak when there's opportunity. How good is the word when it is spoken in season? How good is it? You know? Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 12. Zakaryah. Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 12. Yeah, right. Sirach 7:13.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 12. When I hold my tongue, they shall bide my leisure, and
Bishop.
when I
Like, go on.
and when I speak, they shall give good ear unto me. If I walk, Salah, if I talk much, they shall lay their hands upon their mouth. Moreover, by the means of her I will obtain immortality, and leave behind me the everlasting memorial of them that come after me.
So verse 13 is going into wisdom. By her, referring to wisdom, you shall obtain immortality. Verse 12, however, it's talking about, holding your tongue. You understand? That that hear you speak, when you hold your tongue after a time, you know, they will listen and hearken unto you. Because you're not out here trying to get the attention. When you bring words, it's words of meaning. There's a message rather behind whatever it is that you're saying. And now you're not just talking for talking's sake. Is it? Substance. Can. You get me, sir? Yeah, this is Rakima.
Yeah. Sirach chapter 7, verse 14. Use not 13.
Yeah.
Use not Slacky, use not to make any manner of lie, for the custom thereof is not good.
32:7. Yeah, so making certain stupid jokes, like, it's manner of light. You understand? The childish way, you want to make certain jokes. Say, use not any manner of the custom of lies. Just be straight, be as men. Don't play around making certain jokes like these fools, these babblers. Uh,
Use not many words in the multitude of elders, and make not much babbling when thou prayest.
God, so when you're among the men of the Lord, don't be babbling and using much words. Just make your point. Let it be plain and straight to the point.
Okay.
And even when you pray to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, who's the power of all, worse yet, don't go to him, blah 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 blah, like these Christian churches. They didn't even know what they're saying, but they're just babbling. One set of words, and they ain't availing nothing but, go to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, get to the point. Your one last precept, unless you get anything.
This is Sirach chapter 32, verse 7. Speak, young men, if there be need of thee.
So speak, young men, if there be need. So when there's need to speak, then you should speak. Don't just speak if you don't have the need, or speak just to speak's sake, but speak when there's a need for you to speak. Go on.
And yet scarcely when thou art twice asked.
And yet scarcely when thou art twice asked. Person I ask you more than one time, yeah, scarcely speak in those times. Go on.
Verse 8. Let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words.
And there's a point, keep your speech short as possible, yet compact and well detailed in those few words.
Be as one that knoweth, and yet holdeth his tongue.
So it's not about being puffed up, and because you got to expound, you got to say something, you got to have a word in. It's not like that. It's about being humble. Speaking when there's a need for you to speak. Being well learned to be able to discern, that need to speak.
If thou be among great men, make not thyself equal with them, and make slack. And when ancient men are in place, use not many words.
See, what people would do, because they're among great men, they try to make themselves equal. So a brother's expounding, a brother's breaking down stuff, and they want to have their voice be heard also. Say no, don't be like that. Understand? Is it? Yeah. So
I got a quick precept.
this brother get precept.
This is Sirach chapter 33, verse 29. Be not excessive toward any, and without discretion do nothing. So yeah, so don't be excessive. And now only there's a wide precept, as in you gotta be temperate. In other words, know when to talk, know when not to talk, know when to do this, know not when to do it. All right, and with discretion, do nothing. So be discreet. Be discreet in ways, saying and so forth. Choose your words carefully. In other words.
Yeah, this is Proverbs chapter 15, verse 28. The art of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things.
Go on, break down.
Yeah, so basically the art, right? The mind of the righteous studieth to answer, right? You have people coming up to you sometimes when you're trying to break the scripture down to them. They don't even think about what they're saying. I won't give example, but no, if you study the Bible, if you've been in this thing, you probably know, right? Yeah, but basically the art of the wise study to answer, and the wicked pour out evil, right?
In other words, the men of the Lord, they will put the precepts upon precepts, going through the scriptures day and night, studying them, to get the understanding, so that when questions arise, they will be able to answer. On the other hand, the evil persons, they just pour out these wicked thoughts. They don't know what they're speaking, they're just speaking because they have a mouth.
Right.
Right? Just on the point, give me Sirach 8 and 8.
Alright, this is Sirach chapter 8, verse 8. Despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs.
See this precept actually going back to the Ecclesiastes chapter 5, where it says, be more ready to hear than to speak. You understand? So the discourse simply means to discuss, to have a conversation, right? Right? So it means to discuss, to have a conversation.
Like a UG course. Like certain courses study at when UG universities. It's like a discourse.
Right? So don't miss the discourse of the learned men. Go on.
But acquaint thyself with their proverbs, for of them thou shalt learn instruction, and how to serve great men with ease. Sirach chapter 8, verse 9. Miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learned of their fathers, and of them thou shalt learn understanding, and to give answer as need required.
So this is basically how you're gonna, learn how to speak when you need to speak, by being among the elders, by listening to them, hearing them break down certain things. Go on.
Alright, this is Sirach chapter 6, verse 33. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding, and if thou bow down thy ears, thou shalt be wise.
So it's basically, is listening in order to be wise. It's not about, speaking. You can't speak and be wise, you know. Because if it was so, you would have born knowing this. You ain't born knowing this. You gotta get this from somebody. The men of the Lord, God teach you these scriptures. God teach you the understanding. Alright?
This is Proverbs 18 and verse 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof.
That's a life is in the power of the tongue. Cause you can speak certain things, and uplift a brother. And on the other hand, you can speak certain things and make a brother feel down. Since death and life is in the power of the tongue. You confessing certain things, bring certain things into manifestation. It's all about keeping that balance, keeping that harder. Speak less and know exactly what you need to speak. Is it?
Uh,
Is there anything else? So with that, we hope this video, is edifying, to the open elect.
uh,
The Shalom,
Rakta.
Rakta. Till another time.